Hi guys, welcome to class. So let's talk about waterborne disease. We have looked at foodborne disease, and we said foodborne disease refers to illness or disease condition which occurs as a result of consuming food that contaminated with disease pathogens, bacteria, virus, fungi, or consuming food that contain natural toxins such as some species of mushroom, or consuming foods that have been exposed to chemical agents such as insecticide. And we said that in most cases, what is actually responsible for that condition is the proliferation of the rapid increase in the colonies of the bacteria, and in most cases, Salmonella enteriditis or the Salmonella species, which is responsible for that. And we said most of the toxins produced by bacteria, which is responsible for contaminating the food itself, most times is Staphylococcus. So Staphylococcus release those toxins. So it's more like a synergistic effort between Salmonella and Staphylococcus results in what we call foodborne disease, and in some cases referred to as food poisoning. Like I said, it can be fatal, it can actually lead to death. So ensure you know what you are putting into your stomach. Don't just put anything. Ensure if you are going to cook, make sure you cook hygienically, you satisfy hygienic conditions. Please do ensure that. Now let's talk about waterborne disease. So food, what we consume. Yes, after we take food, we need to drink water, right? So waterborne disease basically is just consuming contaminated water. Consumption of contaminated water gives rise to waterborne disease. That will mean it gives rise to waterborne diseases. And the presentations of foodborne disease is very much similar to waterborne disease. Do you understand? It's very, very more similar to waterborne disease. It's the same thing. You are going to be having diarrhea. You're going to be having diarrhea. Of course, you'll be dizzy, you'll be dehydrated. The 3 Ds will be there. You'll be dehydrated, of course. You have severe abdominal and stomach cramps, dehydration. So you have the same presentation: severe abdominal and stomach cramps. Abdominal. So you're going to have that severe abdominal and stomach cramps. And don't forget consumption. So this is an illness, that is the waterborne disease, an illness arising due to the consumption of contaminated water. Arising due to the consumption of contaminated water. Rising due to the consumption of contaminated water. Right? So that tells you that. So that tells you that you should ensure you drink hygienically. There was a time in this country some years ago, there was this outbreak of cholera. Cholera was really something else. In fact, even in the north, when you see meningitis, most of the time, what predisposes to meningitis, or what is even the root of transmission of the bacteria responsible for causing that inflammation of the meninges, the membranous line of the brain, is in cases where you see endemic or epidemic of meningitis, you will see that their water source is always unhygienic. You understand? It's always unhygienic. It's not even only water contaminated with disease pathogens. In the case of waterborne disease, you have situation where some pipes contain lead. So when you consume water for such pipes, as well at high temperature, there's tendency that some of the lead could have dissolved into the water. And lead poisoning is a very, very serious issue. It presents with a lot of things. You could present with CNS disorders. You could present with bleeding disorders as well. So metal poisoning are things which you should try to avoid, because most times they always present with CNS complication, that is central nervous system complication. So that's another complication of waterborne disease. That's another thing you can have playing out in terms of waterborne disease. So not only consumption of contaminated water, but contaminated water contaminated with disease pathogens, and that will happen in Japan, I think somewhere Italy in Japan, where there's this mercury poison. Most of the water in that community was poisoned by mercury, and it really affected the community. They had to treat their water before that situation was arrested. So water contaminated with disease pathogens and heavy metals such as lead. Disease pathogens, metals such as lead. Now there are some common waterborne diseases. I say common because we see them happening all around us, very common. And the very first one there will be cholera. So cholera is right up there. Remember, Vibrio cholerae, causative agent. We also have giardiasis. Giardiasis is caused by Giardia lamblia. And you also have the typhoid fever. You also have the typhoid fever as well. So all these are common waterborne diseases. And what gives rise to all this? Contaminated water. Could be pathogens. In the case of, even we could write up there, lead poisoning. So that makes it complete. So lead poisoning. So the first three we can say water contaminated by disease pathogens. And lead poisoning there is representing water contaminated by metals. Could also add up mercury poisoning. You will not still be wrong. The main essence is that you should know that there are diseases that arise as a result of consuming contaminated water. So that means that they can be prevented. Just try to purify your water source. And if you are going to take water from an impure source, before you consume it, try to treat it. There are many ways of treating water. You could use additives like some chemicals that can kill off those germs, or you could use a boiling method, use of high temperature. These are ways in which you can treat water. You could go through the whole purification process of sedimentation and the rest, and introduction of alum and then chlorination to kill those germs. Or you could also introduce a borehole which could try to sieve out the dirt and just pump out clean water. So just make sure whatever water you want to take to avoid waterborne disease, ensure it's not a contaminated water. See you in the next class.